Inspiring. It's the Lions and the Packers, Ford Field in Detroit. About to kick it off, and before we do, let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, a matchup worth watching today. Calvin Johnson and Tramon Williams. Johnson won the last meeting heads down. He torched Williams for 244 yards. That was on Thanksgiving of last year. Williams says he's not about to let this happen again. He was confident when we spoke. He even told me to YouTube him. There are lots of examples of him doing well against Johnson, too. Back to you, Joe.
All right, Pam, yeah, he was kind of 1 for 2 against Megatron last year. He held him to 4 catches here on Thanksgiving, talking about Tramon Williams, and then number 81 went off on January 1st at Lambeau Field. In that game, the Lions won prior to losing in the wild card round in New Orleans in the playoffs the next week. Aaron Rodgers is tied for the most touchdown passes in the league. We'll see him second. We'll see Matt Stafford first. Matthew, part of the number 1 ranked passing offense in the NFL. Off we go. And Stafford and company will start at the 20 as Stephon Logan takes a knee. Well, here is Matthew Stafford, and it has been the way for the Lions since Jim Schwartz took over. No team throws more. And this guy, his arm gets a workout every Sunday.
Well, it sure does. I mean, they put a lot on his plate, and, you know, for the most part, he's held up very, very well. Last year, going through the season healthy for the first time in his career, over 5,000 yards passing last season.
11 touchdowns, 8 picks to start the year for Stafford, and they'll start with a throw. He's got Pettigrew, and Pettigrew is bumped into by Morgan Burnett, who rides him out of bounds, a gain of 3. Take a look at some of the key contributors on each side when we go through the lineups. And for Detroit offensively, you've got the wide receivers. You've got Michael LaShore at running back, and then they've got an extra offensive lineman, Riley Reef, who they use as a lineman, a fullback, a tight end. They don't have a fullback on their roster. That's dropped. Pettigrew in his hands and out. Defending was Brad Jones. And now we'll look at the Green Bay defense before 3rd and 7. It's one of the guys we'll show you. Casey Hayward, the rookie, has got 4 interceptions. Walden and Moses trying to fill the absence of Clay Matthews, who was out with a bad hamstring. And on 3rd down and 7, Stafford completes, and now that ball's out. They're going to say no catch as it came out going to the ground, and it's 3 and out as Calvin Johnson could not hang on.
Well, and so we talked about it coming in, Joe, as far as Detroit, you know, starting faster. They've just gotten off to slow starts really throughout this entire season, even going back to last year. Now the Packers were in zone coverage. I thought if Calvin Johnson had just hooked it up and not continued on his crossing route, and Stafford just puts it right on him, he could have picked up the first down very easily.
Here's a punt that goes out of bounds instead of into the arms of Randall Cobb. And we'll see where they mark it. And then Ed Sfida will tell us how long that punt was. At the 39-yard line, and our stat guru says it was 38. Take that with a grain of salt. Here's Aaron Rodgers, and he has tied Drew Brees for the most touchdown passes in the NFL, but he's on an unbelievable roll. The reigning MVP over the last 6 games, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he is great in domes.
He has been outstanding indoors, Joe, and as good as those numbers are, I don't know that he's really played up to the level that he expects of himself. I know even against Arizona, he was frustrated in his play.
Here's Cobb out of the backfield. Randall Cobb lowers his shoulder, runs into Drayton Florence, who was just activated off that designated to return IR list, a gain of 5. And here are the Green Bay Packers offensively. Nelson Cobb's been the playmaker with over 1,300 all-purpose yards. He got the first play from scrimmage, and then the shuffle up front, Troy, and you need to talk about that, with TJ Lang shifting out to right tackle for the injured Bulaga, and Evan Dietrich Smith at left guard.
It's been a Packers offensive line that has, fortunately for them, remained intact through the first 9 games of the season. That changes, as you said, Joe, here this afternoon. Because of the injury to Bulaga, it affects 2 positions, with Lang going to right tackle, and then bringing in their sixth lineman, Dietrich Smith, to man the left guard spot.
Here's Starks left side, and a tackle by Levy, but Levy went for a ride. And Starks has enough for a Green Bay first down. And how about Drayton Florence? He comes back, gets activated on that first play from scrimmage. He got a shot right to the head and the shoulder, and he had to come off the field. And they were excited to get him back to try and help shore up what's been a bad secondary.
319!
Delayed handoff to Starks. And that's played pretty well by Detroit, but a gain of 4. Eric Coleman came up from the safety spot to make the stop. Coleman part of a shuffled secondary that's now without Spivey, who's on IR, and Delmas, who's inactive today. Up front, they need pressure from that defensive front. Averill is back, as you saw on that graphic, back from a concussion last week. 2nd and 6.
Ready, go!
Play action from Rodgers. Out to his right, throws a fastball, and it's dropped by Jordy Nelson. He had Nelson. Nelson looks at his hands on his way back to the huddle. It's 3rd down.
Well, he had an opportunity to come down here to Nelson. As you say, the Detroit Lions are going to play coverage for the most part throughout this game. And they know that they don't match up particularly well. You talk about Drayton Florence going out on the first play of the game. They are very, very thin.
25! Ready, go!
They're on the back end.
They're going to throw a flag, and 3rd and 6 will become 3rd and 11.
False start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
That's the new guy, Evan Dietrich Smith.
Yeah, that's the new guy, and that's something that this offense has actually done a pretty good job of, is they have the fewest false starts of any team in football. But as we said, Evan Dietrich Smith getting his start here today, his first of the season, and a tough place to do that, indoors with the crowd noise, and then against the defensive front that wants to pin their ears back and come after the quarterback.
3rd and 11. Picked as they tried to set up a screen for Alex Green. It's 4th down. And you go back, Troy, to that 2nd and 6 drop by Jordy Nelson. That's what has plagued both teams, really. The Lions lead the league in drops. Coming in, Green Bay tied for the 4th most. That was a drop of a 1st down, and it ends up a punt from Mastek. Logan stays away. And this one is down just outside the 1. And it's Jared Bush down there to down it on a 49-yard punt by Tim Mastay. Jim Schwartz's offense starts at the 1. Great coverage downfield of the punt by Mastay on the part of Jared Bush. He downed it just outside the 1. They gave Detroit benefit of the doubt, marked it at the 2.
Hey, who you going to, Phil?
But backed up, to say the least, to the Lions. No score. Was short. Picks up 2, and let's go back to that punt coverage by Jared Bush.
Jared Bush is the gunner on the outside, and you're going to see the awareness that he has when he gets down here near the goal line, and he stops, and then he waits for the ball to come to him, and he makes a play on it. He's an excellent special teams player, and Sean Slocum, the special teams coach, has had himself a heck of a year. In fact, Mike McCarthy has said week in and week out that the special teams unit has really been the best unit that they've had, better than the offense and the defense has played.
On 2nd and 8, Stafford from the end zone. Pass broken up. And well played by Devon House, trying to get it to Titus Young. And Devon House, a 2nd-year player, stuck that right hand in and broke it up.
Good protection up front by the offensive line. You see the route by Titus Young. A pretty good thrown ball there by Matthew Stafford. Gave him a chance, and Titus Young, as he gets his hands on the ball, you say House comes in with a hand himself and knocks it loose.
So now 3rd and 8. This is where the Packers miss Clay Matthews. Out with a bad hamstring. Stafford incomplete, had Scheffler and missed him. And it's been 2 3-and-outs for the Lions to start their day, and they've been really bad in the first quarter all season.
Well, that's a throw you just cannot miss. You know, Matthew Stafford, as we said, I mean, he shoulders a lot. They expect him to do a lot. You called it earlier. They throw the ball more than anybody in football under Scott Linehan the last several years. But Scheffler was open, and if he catches that ball in stride, that's a huge gain for the Lions.
No penalty flag as the punter Nick Harris was banged into, and a fair catch by Cobb at the Detroit 48. Harris could have played that one up a bit. He stepped around the hit. No score in Detroit. Matthew Stafford's first quarter quarterback rating is under 60.
52.
It gets better each quarter.
Where'd he go?
Tops out at well over 100 in the fourth quarter, but he's off to a slow start again. As Randall Cobb, who carries it like a running back, former quarterback, wide receiver, now running back for the Green Bay Packers, gains 4.
Well, I think if you look at this game so far, you know, think back to last week with the Minnesota Vikings and the Lions, the field position that the Vikings had throughout that game and the lack of field position that the Lions had. That's the way this game has started as well. Lions last possession start up on their own 2-yard line, but because they failed to get a first down, they give the ball with great field position to the Packers.
Good cut by James Starks. Brought down right at the marker, depends on the spot, but he found a position and then cut up field. And they're going to mark him, it looks like, just short of a first down. Let's see if there's a face mask, and there is on the tackle by Sue.
And Ndamukong Suh clearly gets a hold of the face mask. A lot made this week when Jim Schwartz came out and said that Suh maybe had his best game since he's been a Lion last week. He was only credited with 1 tackle and 1 sack. I thought he played well. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say it was his best game that he's had here with Detroit.
What?
They just get it away, and Starks gets to the edge and has a first down. James Starks has taken over that top spot at running back for Green Bay. They're waiting for Cedric Benson to come back, and he may return on December 9th off that Liz Frank sprain in his foot. That's when he is first eligible to come off the list. But in his place, first it was Alex Green, but they're getting more consistent play out of James Starks, part of a big running day in their last game at home against Arizona.
Yeah, that was the most work that he had all season long. A good running day. A lot of that had to do with Aaron Rodgers.
They fake it to Starks. Penalty flags fly as Cobb's got it inside the 15. But flags are down. It's against Green Bay for a hold.
Holding. Offense number 71. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So that erases a 26-yard completion to Cobb. And instead of a 1st and 10 at the 11, it pulls it back 10 on this from Josh Sitton.
Yeah, right guard Josh Sitton, who has really been outstanding throughout this season, you know, just got enough there of Willie Young, and that's what brought the flag. But we've seen the Packers, as has been the case since Greg Jennings went down, using Randall Cobb in a lot of different places.
Where'd he go?
Quick throw to Cobb. Gets a block from Jordy Nelson on the edge. Is able to stay in bounds. That's a nice play on 1st and 20. Gets 9. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
Making his first NFL start, Philly rookie Nick Foles had a tip pass intercepted on the opening drive, and that's when Washington rookie RG3 made it pay. 2 plays later, he hooks up to Darrell Green for a touchdown. A 7-0 Redskin lead in the battle of the rookie QBs. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt. 2 teams, 3 and 6. Dallas playing at home against Cleveland. The Giants are off. Rodgers. Penalty flags again. Looks like another hold, and it is against Green Bay.
Holding. Offense number 62. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Evan Dietrich Smith is guilty of a hold.
Yeah, well, you're going to see him, and part of this is because he doesn't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing behind him. He's in a pretty good position, good protection, and as soon as Rodgers starts then to his left, he feels the defender starting to slide away from him, and then he grabs a hold.
So now 2nd and 21. And it's been a mistake-filled first quarter offensively with a drop by Nelson, penalties. And the Packers are back where this drive started. Over the middle, it's Cobb, and he is brought down immediately. Brought down by Stephen Tulloch. A gain of just 4.
And we talked about how the Detroit Lions would play coverage in this game. That's really kind of what they've been about under Jim Schwartz, because they do have the guys up front that can get after the passer. Were excellent last year in sacks. And with the explosive players that Green Bay has offensively, they're going to try to give as much help to all those players as they can.
3rd down and 17. All day. Pass caught. Short of a first down. James Jones at the 31. And it will make an easier field goal attempt for Crosby after a gain of 13. It's 4th down. However, Aaron Rodgers is coming back onto the field, and the Packers, instead of trying for points, are going to go for a first down.
Yeah, I think, as far as an easy field goal, I'm not so sure anything's easy right now for Mason Crosby. He has really struggled after hitting his first 5. Has only made 5 of his last 10. I think this is a good call by Mike McCarthy going for it on 4th down.
On 4th and 4. Pass is incomplete. And no points after that drive that started at the 48 of Detroit. And so they pass on what would have been a 49-yard field goal try by Crosby, who's missed 5 of his last 10. 4th down try incomplete, no score in Detroit. See how that plays out as the Packers and Aaron Rodgers go for it on 4th down. And instead of attempting a 49-yard field goal here on the road indoors to try to get the early lead, it's still no score. As Stafford finds a man and another drop. This one belongs to Calvin Johnson. And you can see the frustration all over Stafford after missing on that. Johnson couldn't haul it in.
Well, this is partly why they've gotten off to such slow starts. They've had drop balls, they've had penalties, they've had 2 drop balls by the guys that lead the team in drops already in this game. With Brandon Pettigrew and then Calvin Johnson, and that would have been a nice pickup for Detroit. Great job defensively by the Lions, not giving up any points after giving the ball to the Packers at midfield on that last possession.
They had help. Stafford setting up a screen. And LaShaw is brought down by Hawk. A loss of 2. And that's now 8 plays offensively for the Lions. 7 passes, 1 run. And it's 3rd down and 12.
Well, last week, this Lions team was not very good on 3rd down. And they have yet to convert here in this first quarter, and a big reason for that is they've just not executed on 1st and 2nd downs.
So now they're left with 3rd and 12. As Stafford rolls to his right, sets up a long one, looking for Johnson. Pass is caught. They're going to mark him at the 18, 53 yards to Megatron.
Well, Tramon Williams, I'm surprised that he's not even able to get into the action. They're playing him inside out with Tramon Williams and then Jerron McMillan. And he gets past Tramon Williams right away. Now it's one-on-one on the rookie safety, but Williams never even gets into the action.
Here's Kevin Smith over the right side. Penalty flag on the play. Smith got 3. That 53-yard catch is season-long for Calvin Johnson. A guy who in his career has averaged over 80 a game, best all time.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face. Defense number 93. 5-yard penalty and a first down.
That's Eric Walden, guilty of hands to the face as he got his right hand up high there on Pettigrew.
Well, you know, the matchup that they had, again, going back to Calvin Johnson's catch, a guy 6'5" over the safety who's just 5'11".
Stafford end zone, and he overthrows Calvin Johnson. The Lions are inside the red zone. It was this big catch by Calvin Johnson that put him there. And the Lions are the number 8 team in the NFL in converting red zone opportunities into touchdowns. That's the good part. They're 11 of their last 12. But Calvin Johnson has only 1 red zone touchdown this season, had 9 a year ago.
Well, they've been good overall. The Lions have been down in the red zone. Calvin Johnson certainly attracts a lot of attention down here.
Stafford. Pass is caught by Scheffler. But now it's 3rd down and goal, a gain of 6.
You know, you look at these teams, Joe, and you say, you know, why are the teams that are playing well down in the red zone, why are they scoring touchdowns? You know, back in the day, I'd say it was because the teams that were good ran the ball well when they got to this part of the field. But that's really not necessarily the case in today's game. Typically, it's about a quarterback making a rush or miss, making a play, throwing a ball high, a great catch. Nothing's real easy down here.
Riley Reif, extra offensive lineman, is an eligible receiver. Stafford looking left, now back to his right. Johnson's out to his right. Time runs out, and Burnett slings Stafford to the ground. Morgan Burnett makes the play as Calvin Johnson was the intended target at the end of the play after looking left.
Well, initially, Matthew Stafford is looking to his left. He's wanting to go to Titus Young, but just pretty good coverage there by Devon House on him. Now he rolls out to his right. He's then trying to get Calvin Johnson to create a little bit of separation, and he was just unable to do so.
Hansen from 30. He's been automatic since he was a 2nd-round pick out of Washington State in 1992. And he puts the Lions on top 3-zip. So the Packers went for it. On 4th down, didn't convert. Stafford to Johnson, set it up. 3-0 Detroit. Season-long 53-yard catch for Calvin Johnson. Set up the field goal by Jason Hansen. Hansen will kick it away. 3-0 Lions in a game they absolutely have to have. Not only are they under 500, but they have the toughest remaining schedule the rest of the way. And they start the day 0-3 in the NFC North. Cobb from inside the 5. Knocked down at the 19. Take a break, come back. Aaron Rodgers back to work with his Packers trailing by 3. Packers have only trailed over their last 5 games for just under 12 minutes total. They did not try the 49-yard field goal to take the lead on the road.
Where'd he go?
And so they trailed 3-0. Quick throw, and it's dropped. That could be the first of the year for James Jones, if they want to call it that. He was open but did not make the grab, and back to the 3rd down try.
See Calvin Johnson, he's got 2 guys on him. Titus Young on the opposite side of the field. He's got single coverage. That's why Stafford was looking in his direction, and this really explains why Calvin Johnson has not had as many red zone touchdowns as maybe a year ago. Not that he wasn't still a focal point last season, but playing inside out on him down there inside the 5-yard line.
Delayed handoff to Starks, who just gets ripped backward after a gain of 4. Levy, Sue was the first one there, and Levy cleaned up. Meanwhile, just something to talk about. And you said it before Green Bay went for it on 4th down the last time. If the reason they went for it on 4th down was because they didn't trust their kicker 49-yard try indoors. The weather's about to turn. It's about to get nasty. That's a big problem for Green Bay going forward with Crosby, who's missed 5 of his last 10. It's 3rd down and 6. Nelson, first down, out near the 38, and a 3rd down conversion, a completion of 15 yards.
Well, and Aaron Rodgers takes a pretty good lick at the end of that play, but it really shows his ability to slide. I mean, he obviously is one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the league, but he's got great pocket awareness and knowing where the pressure's coming from and sliding then away from it and delivering the football on the money.
Little shove to the ground by Fairley at the end of it, 1st down. Handoff to Starks. And James Starks, who had a toe issue early in the year, gains 3. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Cleveland quarterback Brandon Weeden hadn't thrown a touchdown pass in 4 weeks, but rectifies that today at Dallas, hooking up with Benjamin Watson on a 10-yard score, and the Browns have the lead over the Cowboys in the first quarter, 7-0. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt, Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator of Dallas, calling that one personal. Used to be with the Browns, and his team trails by 7. 2nd and 7 here. Timeout, Green Bay. Play clock was at 2. And so while Green Bay will talk about this 2nd down play, we'll tell you about UFC. UFC on Fox, Saturday, December 8th, starting at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You look at Aaron Rodgers, who had the play clock winding down, and Mike McCarthy immediately went to one of the officials and started screaming at him. Head linesman finally comes over for a brief word, but McCarthy was upset with something with the play clock down to 2.
Yeah, we talked about it a moment ago, Joe, just as far as the Packers. I mean, they've overcome a lot this year. I mean, tough loss to start the season against San Francisco. We know what happened in Seattle, the players that they've had go down, and yet they've gotten on a nice roll and have put themselves in a great position. But outside probably the Houston game, I don't think this team has played its best football yet, and that's a good thing if you're a Packers fan.
2nd down and 7. Here Starks left side. Nowhere to go. Knocked down by Tulloch. A loss of 2 and a 3rd and long coming up.
Well, it's a big challenge for Detroit, certainly, to be able to slow down this Packers offense. And you're going to see the job, the pressure, and the penetration that the defensive front is able to get. And then the linebacker, Tulloch, just coming off the edge and scraping a big 3rd down and 9.
Here we go.
Rodgers avoids the sack and gets a 1st down. He finds Driver, who takes it into Detroit territory, and that is what makes Aaron, well, that and many other things, but that's what makes him so dangerous. They had him, they missed the sack, and then he keeps his eyes downfield.
Well, and we saw it 2 weeks ago as well against Arizona. You've got him bottled up. They get the outside pressure. They make him then have to move up in the pocket, and Ndamukong Suh's right there, and he's not able to get him to the ground. And it makes it very difficult then on the back end trying to sustain coverage for that long.
Back-to-back 3rd down conversions for Green Bay as Starks gets 2 over the right side. Consider the Packers come in having put Bulaga, Nick Perry, early Desmond Bishop, then his backup at linebacker DJ Smith on IR. They're playing today without Cedric Benson, Clay Matthews, Charles Woodson, Greg Jennings, among others, and yet they've won 4 straight. There's Greg Jennings, who is feeling much better after surgery on an abdominal tear. And they're leading the wild card chase, and they still have the NFC North and a division title well within their sights as Starks makes it a more manageable 3rd down as he gets 5. Tulloch on the tackle. This is a Green Bay team that's won 8 straight division games. We are at the end of quarter number 1. 3-0. Lions on top. Packers with a football, 3rd and short. We start the 2nd. Back after this from your local Fox station. There is Corey Williams, former Packer, and out with a bad knee, talking to Ndamukong Suh on the sideline. He and Vanden Bosch. Suh and Vanden Bosch on the sideline on 3rd and 3. Rodgers, pass is caught. Almost indefensible, and it's Jordy Nelson who just lost his footing as he tried to tiptoe down the sideline. That's 3 straight 3rd down conversions. That one good for 19.
Yeah, and they were fortunate here. The Lions were, I mean, 2 missed tackles. You see right there by Jonte Green, and the safety then comes over and is able to at least get Jordy Nelson off balance. Otherwise, Jordy Nelson's going to be able to take that all the way in for a touchdown.
It was Ricardo Silva who saved the touchdown. Here's a little push pass to Cobb, who gains 3 over the right side. Chris Houston on the stop.
You know, Joe, you mentioned all of the injured players that they're playing without, and it's really a credit to both Ted Thompson, the general manager, as well as this coaching staff, because clearly there's some pretty talented backups that are on this roster. But there's a lot of teams in this league that do not do a very good job of developing their backup young talent. And it's clear that Mike McCarthy and the rest of his staff has been excellent in doing so. 2nd down and 7. Rodgers has Finley wide open. Finley, touchdown. His first since week 1. And Jermichael Finley, left alone, gets his 2nd of the season. Pretty well designed play there by Mike McCarthy. They're going to sneak Jermichael Finley. He's coming here, but look at the action by everyone else. They're showing that it's going to be a screen, and that's what pulls the linebackers away from Jermichael Finley in the middle of the field. They thought that they had seen it, identified it, came up to make the play then on the screen, and nobody in the middle of the field to cover Finley. It had been since week 1 against San Francisco for Finley. His last touchdown reception. And for Green Bay, who through the first quarter had the ball for over 10 minutes, ran 13 plays in Lions territory and had no points. Here at the start of the 2nd, a 20-yard touchdown pass to Finley. Green Bay is on top for the first time today, 7-3. There are times where this Green Bay offense can make the field look huge and impossible to cover all parts of it. Jermichael Finley left wide open. Troy will show you why. After the kick, Crosby pops it up a bit. Logan from just outside the 5. Out to the 25, maybe the 26, and we go back to the touchdown. Well, you're going to see the action by the screen here and what it does to these linebackers in the middle, and how Jermichael Finley at tight end. He goes to the middle of the field. The linebackers, as I said, they see screen, they read it, they go to attack it, and then Aaron Rodgers, he puts it on Jermichael Finley. And that's what he's trying to explain to defensive coordinator Gunther Cunningham. But Aaron Rodgers probably has an option on that. If he reads the middle of the field with the linebackers, if they go to the screen, he hits the tight end. If they stay with the tight end, he throws the screen. Here is LaShore over the left side, a gain of 2. For more on Jermichael Finley, let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, Finley's confidence had been shot, but that TD catch might improve it a lot. He struggled with dropping the football. He told me straight up he was in a funk. His position coach, Jerry Fontenot, said it's his job to find proper places that would help Finley. Back to you.
All right, so Finley, who's been that weapon that really has not been able to be counted on with those drops, as Pam mentioned. He has disappeared at times. He's still a big play tight end. Here is a pass caught on the outside by Will Heller. And a nice job by Matthew Stafford of keeping that play alive and finding Will Heller all alone for 17 yards.
Well, they brought Casey Hayward off the edge right into the face of Matthew Stafford, but he overran it. You know, you get in such a hurry as a defensive back to make a play and get there for the sack that if you're not under control, Stafford's able to elude him, and then they turn Heller loose in the flat.
So a first down for Detroit. Good play by Stafford. And it's LaShore. Started left, comes back to his right. And Michael gets 2.
And I know in visiting with Scott Linehan, they'd really like for LaShore to be really the bell cow for this offense. But, you know, since he's come back, the thing with him is he'll get a number of carries, and then Scott Linehan says he's sore the next week, and they're not able to get him as much work. He anticipates that in this game they're going to be able to feed the ball to him a little bit more, but you know, he's only had 20-plus carries once this season. That was week 3, his first game back.
Missed his rookie season with a torn Achilles. Now it's Joique Bell in the backfield on 2nd and 8. Stafford in trouble. And Stafford will be pulled down with a loss of 1. Eric Walden is there. And we go to the coverage of Calvin Johnson with applause from Clay Matthews on the sideline.
Well, as you would expect, I mean, they're playing man coverage underneath. He runs an excellent route in being able to create some separation, but Stafford just unable to hang with him and then make a play. They also turned the tailback, Joique Bell, loose underneath on a check down route.
Walden and Zombo were there, combined on the sack of Stafford to bring up 3rd down and 9. 4 men on the rush. Lions block it. Pass is caught by Calvin Johnson. And just able to secure it before going out of bounds, a gain of 21.
Well, an excellent route by Calvin Johnson. Tramon Williams, again, he's getting help. So we came into this game talking about how he would shadow Calvin Johnson, but he's going to have some help over the top. Did Calvin Johnson have the ball? I'm not so sure that he did. I'm sure Mike McCarthy's taking a look at this one.
No challenge flag yet, but there was a bobble, and it was pretty iffy as to whether he controlled it before getting that second foot down. Handoff is to Bell, and Joique pushes the pile over the right side. Good for 4. A.J. Hawk on the tackle. This week, Fox College football begins on Friday as 25th ranked Washington battles Washington State. Saturday, Baylor takes on Texas Tech, followed by 13th ranked Stanford taking on UCLA. Big win yesterday for UCLA over USC. Possible preview of the Pac-12 championship coverage next week. Friday at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Continues on Saturday at 2 Eastern.
I'm sorry, did you say UCLA won yesterday?
Yes, I meant to tell you that. Here is a 4-man rush. Stafford with a bobble and a catch. And the catch made by Pettigrew. Good for 3.
Well, we see Brandon Pettigrew and Calvin Johnson. I'm still not sure whether or not Calvin Johnson got his feet in play. They're on that one catch, but Brandon Pettigrew, he had a hard time catch. Here's the look at the catch by Calvin Johnson. Now he's got possession, and I don't think it was a catch.
I don't either, and there was no review. It was good for 21 yards, and now it's 3rd and 3. Stafford completes. Johnson down to the 11. And Calvin Johnson coming off a career best 12 catches at the Vikings is emerging today as what he is, I guess, every week, but he's getting yardage in big chunks. That's 14 yards. He's got 3 catches, 88 yards already.
Well, you see a guy running down the field with that kind of size and speed. I mean, he threatened you, and it creates separation as it did there against Tramon Williams.
Here's LaShore. Room to run. And LaShore is down inches outside the goal line. Brought down by Hawk. It should be enough for a first down. And it'll be first and goal from inside the 1. Well, there was a lot of room to run.
That's a good job offensively along that offensive line by center Dominic Raiola and Rob Sims.
Here he is again. And LaShore is no signal yet. Looked like he got in. Touchdown. Fifth rushing touchdown of the season for Mikel LaShore, and the Lions are back on top.
You see how low Mikel LaShore got after he got the ball in his hands. They got a double team inside with the offensive line, and he keeps it low and is able to plow his way across the goal line.
They're going to look at it with a scoring play. That's typical, but clearly with that second effort, you can see the ball cross the goal line. They're going to review it, and I guess the only question is the knee down? It looked like LaShore was on top of bodies. You'll see the ball come through at the end. Knees are still in the air, but they're going to look at it. We'll get the call when we come back. We checked in with Mike Barrera regarding the touchdown. He doesn't think there's anything there to overturn the call, but we'll get the official word from Ron Winter. They show it on the big board here at Ford Field. And this is a long look. The only question's the knee, and I don't see any evidence that the knee's down before LaShore clearly breaks the plane of the goal line. Let's see at this look. The knees are still up. And it's a touchdown.
Yeah, his knee was on someone's foot, on the top of their shoe. We've looked at it just about every which way you can. We've seen nothing to suggest they'll overturn it.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a touchdown.
So the extra point to make it a 3-point game coming up from Hansen.
Obviously, the play in that drive was the bobbled catch by Calvin Johnson on 3rd and 9. And I'm not sure, Mike Pereira said he thought it was a catch. It would have been interesting to see how that would have been ruled if they had to go under the hood.
That is the 11th rushing touchdown of the season for the Lions. And it's 10-7. Here's that play again along the sideline on 3rd down and 9. That bobble ruled a catch. Matthew Stafford, Jim Schwartz, their Lions on top by 3. Good drive for Detroit. It was a 10-play drive. Their 23rd 10-play or more drive this season. That ties the Patriots for the most in the league. And they're now 12 of 14 in scoring touchdowns their last 14 times inside the red zone. So they're good at finishing drives. They've done it a lot on the ground. Calvin Johnson got him down in there. And now we'll see more from Aaron Rodgers. We welcome you inside our broadcast booth. I am Joe, that's Troy, and that was a big drive for Detroit to take some of the momentum away from Green Bay in a game that the Lions really need here today.
Well, it was a big drive because they were able to answer the touchdown that Green Bay was able to get, and probably most importantly, they were able to keep Green Bay's offense, on the sidelines, which is a big part in how they're going to be able to win this game if, in fact, they're able to do that. But I go back to what I said earlier as far as what you just mentioned, Joe. This is a Lions team that expects to be in the playoffs, and this is a game that they need to win against a team that's playing without some real key players for the Packers.
Durant on the tackle, a gain of 6. I mean, do you agree with me? Sometimes the Green Bay Packers, with all that Rodgers can do with his legs, the vision down the field, keeping plays alive, they make the field so big. It's hard for a defense to cover all that Aaron Rodgers can see.
They got great players, and that is tough enough. And then when you combine that with a quarterback who can keep plays alive, it becomes even tougher.
Here's Starks over the right side, and he's been pretty impressive. James Starks, not a ton of room to run, but he's got 5 and a first down. Tulloch was out there for the tackle, but Starks is trying to get on a roll. And again, the Packers coming off by far their best game running the football, their last game against Arizona.
And I think everybody remembers back to a couple years ago during that playoff run and the contributions by James Starks. And, you know, let's face it, this is a team that's always going to be built around the arm of Aaron Rodgers. But if they can get some kind of balance and a little more production out of that running game, they're going to be really, really good.
Penalty flag flies, delayed handoff to Starks. They keep riding him, but a flag is down at the start of the play. Starks was good for 8. And it's against Detroit.
Offside. Defense number 98. Line up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Interesting, instead of a 2nd and 2, Green Bay would opt for the 1st and 5, and you can see the right hand of Fairley across. That's 15 defensive offside penalties against the Lions, most in the NFL.
Yeah, that's you know, and he didn't even jump. He just lined up. He's coming off a heck of a game last week, and you know, was limited last year with the stress fracture in his foot. But you know, I thought that he played very, very well, and he should, because he gets a lot of the single blocking.
How about Starks trying to run through Tulloch? It'll be 2nd and 1, a gain of 4. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Well, in that matchup of rookie quarterbacks, Phillies, Nick Foles has 2 first-half interceptions, while RG3 has 2 first-half touchdowns. An easy one here, 49 yards to a wide-open Aldrick Robinson, and the Redskins lead it 14-3 midway through the second quarter, Joe Troy fan.
All right, so a great start for RG3, and we'll see him on Thursday, Thanksgiving in Dallas.
Back, go back, 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 back.
Redskins and Cowboys, 2nd and 1. Starks, nice play. And back in the backfield, it was Durant, a loss of 2.
Well, Justin Durant, he's able to come right through that offensive line just untouched. You know, the blockers are occupied with the defensive front, and they're not able to get that alignment up to that next level to pick up Durant. He's able to come right through the gap and make a play on Starks.
So now 3rd and 3. 5th tackle of the day for Durant.
What? Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
Rodgers trying to outrun Sue, incomplete. But a flag is down for a hold against Green Bay. It'll be 4th down. That penalty will be declined. 4th down coming up.
That's a great job by Ndamukong Suh. He gets
Offense number 70. The penalty's declined. It's the 4th down.
Dietrich Smith. He's one-on-one. Actually, was that Sue or was that Young?
That was Fairley.
Okay, then it was Fairley. But Fairley gets the one-on-one blocking that I talked about a little bit earlier, and he beats Dietrich Smith right away, and so he's right then in the lap of Aaron Rodgers. That play didn't have much of a chance right from the start.
Baste hits it on 4th down, 4th and 3. Logan with a fair catch. Quick whistle, but Logan muffed the punch. Logan able to get back on top of it. But the official took for granted that Logan was going to make the clean, fair catch and blew the whistle as Logan let it get out of his arms and was fortunate to get back on top. Listen. No harm, no foul. Lions with the ball up by 3. Rodgers has Finley wide open. And LaShore. Touchdown. Lions get it back. First 2 drives, no good. 2 3-and-outs. The last 2, 131 yards with a field goal and a touchdown. They lead by 3. Under 5 to go first half. Stafford throws way behind Scheffler.
We saw one earlier to Scheffler in the first quarter that would have been a big gain. That would have been a nice pickup there as well. Overall, Matthew Stafford, he's a 63% passer. So it's not like he's not completing a high percentage of balls, but even on that one, you see these throws occasionally, you just kind of wonder what happened, and that was one of them.
Maybe Scheffler got faster during the week. 2nd and 10. Little end around, and that's the newcomer, Mike Thomas, who gets upended, literally, a gain of 6.
Well, they've kind of had to go through some changes with the wide receivers because of the injury to Nate Burleson, and a very productive player. Last year had already over 70 catches, and so everybody then had to move up one. They brought in Thomas, and of course Titus Young then became the second guy, and Nate Burleson there standing on the bench had a broken leg, but it's made the rookie also, Ryan Broyles, have to play more than they wanted him to.
Penalty flags, obviously. And it certainly looked like against Green Bay, and it will be, as Mike Neal came across, 96. And that should be enough for a first down.
Offside. Defense number 96, unabated to the quarterback.
That's a nice job by
penalty.
Matthew Stafford of using snap count to his advantage on 3rd and 5. And when you've got a veteran offensive line, especially when you've got a veteran center in Dominic Raiola, you have the confidence then of doing that, because if you move yourself going to 3rd and 10, very difficult then to convert on those.
Mike Neal had to come over to the sideline and stare into the eyes of Mike Turgevac, his defensive line coach. He just gave the Lions a first down by penalty. Here is LaShore. And Michael gets to the edge. Burnett with the hit to knock him out, but a big run. A gain of 15 yards and another Lion first down.
Well, they're able to seal the edge. Brandon Pettigrew, he does a good job, and Calvin Johnson, he helps out. You can see on the end of line, they bring Stephen Peterman, the right guard. Good execution. Tramon Williams, wanting to get the holding call, and it looked like, I've seen him call a lot less than that holding. So Calvin Johnson maybe gets away with one, and now left tackle Jeff Backus hobbles off the field.
And now Riley Reef, who is the first-round pick out of Iowa, goes to that left tackle spot. A spot that seems his place as the years go forward. Backus has been a rock out there at left tackle for this organization as LaShore gets knocked down by Hawk, a gain of 2.
Yeah, Riley Reef, he was their first-round pick, and as Lion fans know, he's gotten an opportunity to play a little bit because they don't have a fullback on their roster. They've used him in that role, and it's helped them. And he was never intended to really play a lot because, as I said, it was a veteran offensive line. They've been playing together for 3+ years. And that would sort itself out moving forward into next season, whether it's contracts that are up or potential retirements. But yes, he's at the position that he was drafted to play back in April.
2nd down and 8. Stafford steps up, gets hit, and overshoots Calvin Johnson. And Stafford went down. He was bothered on that throw and gets up limping just a bit. 3rd and 8.
Desmond Moses, he's the guy who comes around the corner and is able to get low on Matthew Stafford and disrupts the throw just enough, because Calvin Johnson, he had a chance. And Matthew Stafford, sometimes you come in there and you get rolled up a little bit on the outside. It affects the knee. You see the move there that's made. And so even though you put 2 guys on him, Tramon Williams, once that big receiver that's fast gets beyond the corner, it no longer matters. You've got two guys on him. You're one-on-one on a safety.
Little limp going to the sideline as Detroit calls a timeout. They're down and 8 when we come back. Joe Buck along with Dr. Aikman back here in Detroit. Why don't you mollify the concerns of Lions fans by you've diagnosed this as possibly a hamstring injury for Backes.
Well, the way he came off and grabbed the back of his leg, I mean, it looked to me, Joe.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor, but it looked like a hamstring injury to me. We're going to report from camp.
There you go. 3rd down and 8.
250.
Stafford with a pocket throws and nothing there, but they were going to get a flag late, and it could be for a hit on Matthew Stafford. And if so, it's an automatic 1st down.
Looked like Brad Jones. He comes in with his left arm, and I don't know about that one, Joe. It's supposed to be a forcible blow.
Roughing the passer.
Yeah, maybe that's
penalty.
forcible. I don't know.
First down.
I don't know how you really determine what's forcible and what's not, but it didn't look like it was really within the intent of the rule. Charles Woodson didn't think so either.
I agree with you, but don't you think that word's gone out the weekend after 3 quarterbacks went down and a couple of vicious hits in there? You think about Cutler, Roethlisberger, Alex Smith of the 49ers, and now that slap to the helmet gives Detroit a 1st down. Not surprising.
No, I'm not surprised either.
So now from the 29, Stafford with play action. And he's picked. And it's the rookie Casey Hayward. A penalty flag comes in. Hayward's got his 5th. A flag came in after the interception. It looks like it's against Detroit, and if it is, that rookie has got a nose for the football and got his 5th interception.
Either that or he's just real sneaky, you know, because he was kind of hidden in there a little bit.
Prior to the pass, holding, offense number 71. That penalty's declined. 1st down.
Casey Hayward is kind of tucked in there a little bit, and as Matthew Stafford, he sees Titus Young coming across on the crossing route, and he's not able to pick up Hayward out in front of him. He didn't even know really where he came from. Casey Hayward, who, as you said, I mean, he has stepped in, and he does have a nose for the ball. Even going back to last year when he was at Vanderbilt, had 7 interceptions there, which was 3rd best in the country. And then he comes into his rookie season and he leads the team in interceptions now.
That is the 11th interception by the Green Bay defense, and just like that, with 2 timeouts and 2 minutes 15 seconds left, Green Bay has a chance to tie or take the lead. And Starks is out of bounds. They're going to keep the clock winding, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. Starks good for 8. 2nd and 2 when we come back. Stafford with the interception, his 9th of the year. 3-point game in Detroit. Look at the offensive leaders for Green Bay. 2nd down and 2. For the Packers down by 3. The ball at the Detroit 44.
319.
Rodgers keeps it. He's picked off. Back the other way. The interception by Lacy. And Aaron Rodgers throws his 6th interception of the season.
Yeah, you know, he goes where he needs to go with the football. I just don't understand. Well, one, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't have thrown the ball. But you see the safeties deep here. The middle of the field is where you got to go with the football. But I've seen it now throughout this game. It was Randall Cobb who's running the route, and you've got to get to the middle of the field, and yet he's staying up the seam. There's nowhere then for the quarterback to throw the football. Earlier in the game, they missed the exact same throw, only it was incomplete. This time, you know, Aaron Rodgers cannot make that throw. But I'm not sure how they're coaching these receivers versus that coverage, why they're not getting to the middle, because that's where the opening is within that 2 deep shell coverage that they've seen throughout this game today.
Yeah, the incompletion you're talking about was on the 4th down try.
That's right.
Here is a 1st down throw. Pass is caught. Small gain. Pettigrew with A.J. Hawk on him, a gain of 4.
And that 4th down play was also to Randall Cobb, and I will tell you that they do not want to get hurt on the outside by James Jones or Jordy Nelson. I would tell you, knowing what I know of this young man here, Randall Cobb, if you're going to give me the middle of the field with him in the slot position, they should be eating that up throughout this half, yet they've been unable to do that.
Stafford's going to run. It depends on the spot. They're going to mark him out of bounds with a gain of 6. And we'll see if it's enough for a first down.
You know, you don't really think of Matthew Stafford as being a runner, you know, because he's so good as a passer and in the pocket, but he really can run well.
It is a first down.
And he's able to pick up the first down, and what a nice chain of events here for the Lions. You know, they had a chance to extend their lead from 3 points to maybe 6, maybe 10 before the half, but a careless throw by Stafford, and then defensively, they get a takeaway themselves and stop the drive for the Packers.
Riley Reef still out at left tackle. Backus out with a hamstring. This one is... He and Scheffler just aren't on the same page, like they haven't practiced together. That was Scheffler in the area. He stopped. Stafford threw it like he was going to continue, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and he threw it well after Scheffler had already turned around. I think Stafford was really just kind of getting this ball out of his hand and didn't like the look of the play.
Minute 14 left, 2 timeouts. Calvin Johnson across from Tramon Williams. On 2nd down, 4-man rush. Stafford again. An empty spot on the field. Stafford's looking for a flag. On a hold, he won't get it. It's 3rd and 10. Young and Pettigrew were in the area, if you want to call it that, a big area. And 2 incompletions brings up 3rd and 10. Now you look at the other side where Green Bay may get a chance if the Lions don't convert.
That's there on Devon House is what Matthew Stafford was wanting to call. But you're right. I mean, if they're not careful here, if they don't pick it up, then they give the ball back to Green Bay with still plenty of time for them to be able to march right back down the field.
Extra men on a blitz. Stafford ducks under it. Gets the ball knocked out by Moses. It's recovered by Green Bay. And on top of it, Mike Daniels after Desmond Moses knocked it out. And the Packers are right back where they were a moment ago with a minute left in the half.
Unbelievable. Brad Jones, he gets the pressure, and Matthew Stafford's able to avoid him. Great job, Desmond Moses, coming off of that. But if he doesn't make that play there on Stafford, they were in man coverage in the secondary, Matthew Stafford would still be running. I mean, you see what's in front of Stafford when he takes off. There's nobody there. He gets it, you know, good 20 or 30 yards on this play if Desmond Moses isn't there to knock the ball out.
So that's 2 turnovers here in the 2nd quarter by Detroit. And now just basically back where they were a moment ago. Here's one to Cobb, and a nice tackle is made by Drayton Florence, a gain of 7.
Yeah, so both of these defenses, you know, here to end this half have made plays when they've had to make them to keep their offenses in the game.
That was a big tackle by Florence. It kept Cobb from being able to go out of bounds. Clock winding. Pass caught by Cobb. Green Bay will spend a timeout. They have 1 left. 34 seconds left in the half. What's coming up at halftime, Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, these guys will be more than just eye candy as we get you caught up on all the action around the NFL, including the Cowboys trying to continue their turnaround as they host the Browns, and the Jets, well, they'll try and end a tumultuous week by beating the Rams. We'll find out on the Visa Halftime.
Jimmy wears great socks on the set. What's happened to your old coach? I mean, he's like a different person.
Man, I don't know. He stirred it up last week, though, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did. Here's Stafford, and you're right. I mean, there was so much room in front of him, but Moses slapped it out of his right arm. And you see the reaction.
Well, he's frustrated. He was frustrated before that play because of the hold that he thought wasn't called there on corner house. But He knows what he had in front of him had he have been able to hang on to the ball.
Desmond Moses with a sack and a forced fumble. One of the guys trying to fill the void left by Clay Matthews. And here is a play by Fairley. A sack and a big loss, a loss of 8. As the clock continues to wind.
Here's the double team on Sue, and then that's why over here you've got single blocking on Nick Fairley. Last week he was able to beat that throughout that game against Minnesota, and he played very well. And in this game he's done the same thing. If Sue's going to draw the attention, then Fairley has to beat one-on-one blocking, and he's been doing that.
So now we're going to have roughly a 50-yard field goal try by Crosby to try and tie this game as the Packers, after that sack by Fairley, and for the Lions their first sack, it was a big play. 50-yard try coming from Crosby. Last 3 drives have ended in turnovers. First one picked by Casey Hayward. Then on the other side it was Lacy getting Aaron Rodgers. Then Desmond Moses forced it. Mike Daniels recovered it. And then that sack by Fairley turns what could have been a touchdown try into a field goal try by Crosby, who's missed 5 of his last 10 over the last 6 games.
Yeah, you know, several of those were for over 50 yards, but he's missed some easy ones in recent weeks. You can only imagine what's running through his head right now.
Just 1 of 4 from this distance, 50 yards or more. And this one, timeout taken, and here it's happened again. Jim Schwartz called the timeout right before the snap.
Their second.
And Crosby missed it. And now he's going to get another chance.
Yeah, I mean, he's happy about that. I don't know that he's any more confident right now, but, you know, I just wish the league would do away with that. I'm just tired of watching it.
Well, and to go back, Schwartz gambled, lost that gamble as Crosby gets a do-over. But this is a big deal for the Green Bay Packers and a team that believes it's good enough to win it all. They have a field goal kicker who hoped during the bye week to clear his head of the bad thoughts. They passed on a 49-yard try earlier. Now they're forced to try it from 50. He missed, but he gets another chance. And he misses again. Mason Crosby has missed 6 of his last 11. He had 2 cracks at it, plenty of distance. First one wide right, next one pulled left. 10-7 Lions at the half. Here's Kurt in the Visa halftime. Most people thought coming into this game with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers on their roll and Matthew Stafford and this Lions offense, the top passing team in the NFL, that this would be a game where the scoreboard was just lit up. That's not the case. 10-7 game halfway through it. And a reminder, you can follow your favorite NFL team on iTunes. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Green Bay will start the second half with the football. And Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure, will look back at that first half and looked at missed opportunities and also a mistake with the interception that he threw their second to last possession, then a missed field goal 2 times, back-to-back tries by Crosby. So his struggles continue. And Jason Hanson, who was drafted just 3 years after Troy Aikman came into the NFL out of UCLA, kicks it away. Cobb will bring it out. Penalty flag on the play, and Cobb is out just across the 20. Tackled by Silva, and then a shove by Stephon Logan at the end of the play, but No flag. There is a flag at the beginning of the play on the run back by Randall Cobb.
Dirty return. Illegal block in the back. Return team. After this is to the goal. First down.
Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, talking to both coaches at the half, Mike McCarthy said he was going to have a little conversation with his struggling kicker. He said Mason Crosby has got to start putting the ball through the uprights. He also wants better pass protection. As for the Detroit Lions, Jim Schwartz told me that we just got to keep at it. We got to keep fighting. It's going to be a 60-minute battle. An update on Jeff Backus. He has a hamstring and he is doubtful.
All right, Pam, thanks. So after the penalty, as Cobb elected to take it out, about 5 yards deep in the end zone, Green Bay has to start at the 5. Down by 3, they hand to Starks. Starks running hard in this game against the Lions, picks up 2 over the right side.
Well, you heard Pam Oliver say that Mike McCarthy told her that, you know, Mason Crosby needs to start putting the ball through the uprights. He is not a patient man, I can assure you, and not that many of these 32 NFL head coaches are, but I played for a guy who was very impatient in Jimmy Johnson, and I can assure you that at this point in the season, if he had a kicker like Crosby who had missed what he has missed and a lack of confidence seemingly, he wouldn't be around very long. And right now I've got to believe that Mike McCarthy recognizes how important those points are, and if he doesn't get that straightened out in a hurry, he may be looking for work.
On second down, pass is complete, and a nice first down for Green Bay as Cobb. And with the absence of Greg Jennings, now a flag comes in. It's a late flag. It happened after the first down was picked up. And we'll get the call from Ron Winter.
Look, they might have gotten Evan Dietrich Smith at the end of that play. Here he comes in, 62, and
There is no foul on the play. Play results in the first down.
That's a good no call. Vanden Bosch
Yeah.
was shoving him in the back, and then Dietrich Smith. How many times have we talked about, and really any announced crew has talked about, the second guy usually is the one that gets the foul. That's a good no call.
and some pretty good acting there by Vanden Bosch.
Who, by the way, turns 34 today. First down, Green Bay.
Set it. 319.
Here Starks. That's Sue. Dominican makes a play, just a gain of 1.
You know, we've seen Starks, get some pretty good carries in terms of number. Hasn't necessarily done a whole lot with them. He's had a few nice runs, but I think what it's done, Joe, is at least keep Detroit honest in what they're doing defensively. And as Mike McCarthy said, maybe as important as anything, it's helped settle right tackle T.J. Lang and then left guard Demetric Smith down a little bit, but I would expect them to start trying to get the ball down the field a little bit more here in the second half.
Second down and 9. Rodgers, pocket collapses. Down goes Aaron Rodgers. Back at the 15-yard line, Cliff Averill is there to bring him down. Coming off a concussion, doubtful during the week, and a loss of 4.
There he is here, Cliff Averill, who really was exceptional last year, led the team in sacks. His numbers, as has the whole teams, have been down. But T.J. Lang, as we said, he's playing a new position right now today. He has played tackle in the past, but Cliff Averill able to beat him for the sack on that play.
Now third down and 13. Four-man rush. Rodgers lost the ball. Recovered by the center, Jeff Saturday, but it's fourth down. It was knocked out by Fairley. And Nick Fairley's been present in this game. Fourth down coming up for Green Bay.
Donald Driver hasn't gotten a lot of action this season, but this is where Aaron Rodgers was looking to go with the ball. Just good coverage there by Jacob Lacey, and you can see what Aaron Rodgers is looking at, and this has been the case, as I said, throughout the game. The Lions are going to depend on their front four to get pressure. They're going to play coverage. They're playing that two-deep shell. Those inside routes are the ones that have to win.
Here's a line drive punt by Mastay, and it takes a great Packer bounce. down to the 33. Did you see the restraint by Nick Fairley? He literally picks up Aaron Rodgers here, and instead of slamming him down into the turf, thought better of it. So no penalty and a punt. Lions with the ball and a lead. First possession of the second half for Matthew Stafford and the Lions offense, up by 3. Hand off to LaShore, and he almost broke free. Pickett and Brad Jones in on the stop. A gain of 7. Back to that play by Nick Fairley.
No, you made a great point, Joe, that Nick Fairley, when he comes in and he knocks the ball loose and, I mean, he lifts him up, it does not look good right there. And Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure, was thinking that he's getting ready to get just thrown into the turf. But a good job by Fairley of holding up and not drawing a flag on that, but an excellent job by the Packers in being able to recover that fumble.
Here's LaShore, who gets brought down the backfield by Jones. Brad Jones making his 4th start at inside linebacker, former outside linebacker. A good play, 3rd and 3 coming up.
Yeah, he's really done a nice job in stepping in for DJ Smith. And, as you said, I mean, he was an outside linebacker. They started working him in training camp on the inside, and they've, Winston Moss and Kevin Green, the linebacker coaches for this Packers defense, have really done an excellent job of getting guys ready to play, and they continue to play at a pretty high level. Brad Jones has been really good the last several weeks.
3rd down and 3. Blitz coming. Stafford throws and has Scheffler. Big completion by Matthew Stafford on 3rd and 3. 16 yards to Tony Scheffler.
Well, they've had some opportunities to Scheffler inside, as we've seen. They've just not been able to connect. And Stafford had pressure in his face. The Packers, they ran a linebacker cross blitz that freed him up, but he was able to get the ball out because they were turning Scheffler loose there in the middle of the field.
So a 1st down and a big conversion to the Green Bay 44. Moses coming off the edge. This one for Johnson out of his reach. He had gotten behind Tramon Williams, but just overthrown.
This was one of the few times today that the Packers have actually played one-on-one with no help. And Tramon Williams was concerned coming in, not in having to match up with Calvin Johnson, but if you get too physical with him, because he's so big and strong, he can push you aside. And he was able to on that play. Had Matthew Stafford have been able to hold on to it just a tick longer, I mean, he could have hit Calvin Johnson, who had gotten behind him, for a touchdown.
See if Morgan Burnett doesn't go over and help out. Number 42, handoff is to LaShore. Michael is down inside the 40, so a 3rd down coming up. Casey Hayward made the stop. LaShore will come out. Lions have been using a lot of Kevin Smith lately on 3rd down, and he's back in on 3rd and 5.
Kevin Smith just a little bit more dependable in terms of pass protection. But Michael LaShore, he's having a nice afternoon.
3rd down and 5.
1, 2.
Right now the Lions probably just outside field goal range, and it's a false start. Titus Young on the outside was flinching. See if it's against him.
False start. Offense, number 16. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
What's interesting there too, Joe, is that the Packers, they were man-to-man across the board, but with the exception that they were doubling Brandon Pettigrew, partly because it was 3rd and 5. We'll see now. Now they're working a safety towards Calvin Johnson to give Tramon Williams some help.
That safety is Burnett. And that's Walden. Free play. Pass is caught. Penalty flag on the play. And you wonder if that's not a push-off by Johnson, rather Titus Young. Now they're going to say incomplete as he lost it going to the ground. And it was offensive pass interference. So this will be offsetting.
Well, a lot of contact there. Devon House, he's got his hands on Titus Young as well.
But they called offensive pass interference. There was also an offside.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offside. Defense number 93. Pass interference. Offense number 16. By rule, those penalties offset. Repeat. 3rd down.
So without that action at the end, it was a free play. It turns into offsetting and like it never happened. But there's the shove by Titus Young after Eric Walden was guilty of jumping across on the hard count by Matthew Stafford.
Well, the official standing right there, basically at the same angle that we showed it to you. So they see the arms extended by Titus Young. They're going to call that.
Go.
3rd down and 10.
What'd you say?
Blitz coming. Lions pick it up. Pass is picked off. Off the hands of Scheffler and intercepted by M.D. Jennings. Jennings is going to go. There's a flag on the play. Jennings is in, but there are flags down on the return. It would be Jennings' first interception of the season. Remember, he had that one taken away at Seattle at the end of the game by Golden Tate. In a call that went Seattle's way, the flag happened on the return by Jennings. Jennings got in for the touchdown, and we'll see who the foul is against. And if it stands.
During the return, personal foul, low block, number 9 of the passing team. Touchdown, the 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Here's Scheffler. You're going to see they got a perfect route on. I'm starting to think you're right, Joe. Maybe Scheffler got faster last week because this is another throw behind him, and he's open. You know, and Matthew Stafford just has not been able to lay the ball out in front of Scheffler throughout this game, and a deflected ball. M.D. Jennings is in behind him to make the play off the tip. But somebody's got to get then back and make a play on M.D. Jennings and keep him from scoring. And they got Matthew Stafford for going low, which you cannot do after a change of possession.
So M.D. Jennings gets his first interception. It should be his second, in our opinion, with what he did in Seattle at the end of the game against the Seahawks, and then returns it 71 yards for a touchdown. And with that, with the defense on the field,
the previous
Packers
play
are on top.
will be reviewed.
Now they're going to review and make sure that M.D. Jennings stayed in bounds the entire way. And if he got in, they'll review it. We'll get the call when we come back. Interception, Jennings. We're under a booth review on the touchdown. It looked to us like Jennings was upended by Titus Young, but stayed in bounds. Even lands in the end zone, but they're reviewing it. We're going to get the call here from Ron Winter, who is out from under the hood. If it stands, it'll be the 7th return for a touchdown against Detroit this season.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a touchdown. The 15-yard penalty will be administered on the kickoff.
So how about that? They've had 7 returns against the Lions. They've had, it's officially, by the way, a 72-yard return by M.D. Jennings. They've had 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown, 2 on punts, 2 now interceptions, and 1 on a fumble return for a touchdown. Crosby almost pushed that extra point wide. Clay Matthews inactive today with a bad hamstring. His group has made him proud. 14-10, Pack on top. 14-10 game as Green Bay gets a defensive touchdown from that man, M.D. Jennings. Officially 72 yards on the return. And that little pop-up kick from inside the 5. It's Thomas on the return, and he gets it across the 15, knocked down at the 17-yard line. And we welcome you Inside our broadcast booth, I'm Joe, that's Troy, and the bigger picture beyond this, you've got Green Bay, the top spot in the wild card chase. Were they to lose here today, that becomes even more wide open in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, you look around the league right now and what's happening up to this point, and even in today's games, it's pretty wide open. But because of what the Packers did in 2010, and then last year with the Giants, 7-7 after 14 games, they've given a lot of teams hope that they can play average football and still ultimately do what they want to do. If I was the Lions, I'd start sensing a little more urgency in this ball game.
Here's LaShore. Well, they started this day in the bottom spot in the NFC North. Last year they were a wild card team. Green Bay won the division with a 15-1 record. The only loss was at the end of the year to these Lions. You've got the Lions 0-3 in their division. They've had the lead at the half. They trail by 4 here, and Stafford has missed some throws. He's been on a different page of the playbook with a couple of receivers, notably Scheffler. And he's thrown behind Scheffler a couple of times that have led to trouble. This one for Scheffler is out of his reach, but a penalty flag flies out of the secondary. Appears to be against Green Bay.
Well, and Matthew Stafford gets hit at the end of that play, and LaShore's got to do a better job in pass protection.
Grasping the face mask. Defense number 59. 15-yard penalty and a first down.
So that's the personal foul variety, grabbing the face mask on Brad Jones. And that's the 8th Packer penalty, and that won't sit well with head coach Mike McCarthy.
Well, you got Brad Jones, who he grabs Tony Scheffler as he's coming off the ball right here. And that's what drew the penalty. But right here in the middle is where LaShore, he's got to go get that guy. And if you're the quarterback and you see a blitzer and you know you got a protector, you're not expecting to have that kind of pressure. LaShore's got to go get him and not wait to absorb the hit.
Another throw by Stafford. He hits Broyles. And Broyles, the rookie, is good for 8. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for a game break.
I'll add another thing to the list of firsts for RG3, the Redskin rookie with his first 3-touchdown game. This one looked a little bit short, but Santana Moss goes up and gets it, 61 yards on the score. And right now the Redskins are cruising past the Eagles 24-6 in the third quarter. Joe, Troy, and Pan.
Look at the day for RG3. You and Tom Brenneman saw him live. I can't wait to see him on Thanksgiving in Dallas.
It's going to be great. I tell you what, Joe, everybody's wondering, Andy Reid and getting fired at the end of the season. I mean, he may not even make it to the end of the season. This has been just awful.
2nd down and 2. Pass for Calvin Johnson, not there. He led Johnson to the sideline, and Johnson was turning his head around. It brings up 3rd down and 2 with Tramon Williams in coverage for Green Bay.
Tramon Williams was in a pretty good position, just really not much of an opportunity on that play. You're talking about, some of the misses by Stafford a moment ago, and yeah, I mean, most of those obviously to Tony Scheffler, and I mean, he could be having a huge game right now because those misses that he has not been able to connect on, those all 3 would have been for big games.
Blitz. Pass caught. Pettigrew, first down. Gets upended by Burnett as Pettigrew took it inside the 45 to the 43, a gain of 12 on 3rd down.
Well, Riley Reif, as we said, he comes in at left tackle for injured Jeff Backus, and he's blocking Eric Walden, and he does a good job on the blind side for Matthew Stafford. And the Packers, they've been able to get pressure with the inside linebackers coming, and they do again, but when you do that, oftentimes you void that zone, and that's why Pettigrew was as open as he was.
Hand off to LaShore. A little hesitation, and Michael LaShore is good for 5. You can call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile now and get coverage of every NFL game. So not only is Washington taking it to Philadelphia, but the Cleveland Browns are beating Dallas 13-3 in the second half in Arlington.
Well, we said it last week, you know, when the Cowboys were able to go on the road and beat Philadelphia, everyone got excited about the Cowboys, but you really didn't know what exactly that meant. Well, maybe it didn't mean anything because they're losing to the Browns.
Here's LaShore, cuts it back, and Michael LaShore's got a first down. He pushed away Brad Jones and gained 12, and a good drive being put together by the Lions.
Well, it's good vision by LaShore in recognizing that he needed to cut back and come backside, and then he showed a little bit of quickness that he has in being able to put his foot in the ground and then bounce that and get a nice gain on the play.
Matthew Stafford has not beaten Green Bay in his time here in Detroit, and this is a Lions team with 3 home games over the next 15 days. They're not easy games. They've got Houston on Thanksgiving, and they're here against the Colts. They've got a tough remaining schedule. Pass caught. That's Bell. And Joyce Bell is good for 5. A.J. Hawk on the stop. So this is exactly what the Lions needed, and they're getting very close to that red zone where they have been so good. 2nd and 5. Play number 8 on this drive. Stafford steps up, he'll run. And he slides down with a Detroit first down. Stafford showing what he can do with his legs. First down, Lions with a ball just outside the 15.
That's a good job by Matthew Stafford. You know, a few throws have gotten away. He had the interception that got returned for a touchdown and didn't like what he saw. The field opened up for him, and he's able to take off and pick up the first down.
This has been a long stretch for this Green Bay defense out on the field.
Lady!
LaShore running left. Penalty flag as Moses made a nice tackle working on Riley Reef. And that's the area where they threw the flag.
That's really an excellent job by Desmond Moses because he's getting blocked by Riley Reef, the left tackle, and he goes right through him and is then able to make a play on LaShore.
Holding. Offense number 71. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
You know, Desmond Moses, another one of those guys who's had to step in and play because of the injuries, and you know, he's really done a nice job. He's got some good pass rushing ability. He played the run nicely there. And a guy who was a defensive end in college, and so he's had to learn to stand up and do all the things that are required from the linebacker position. And they were talking about him coming into the season on how impressive he had been in preseason.
It's now 1st and 20. Stafford nowhere to go, buying some time. Still nowhere to go. End zone incomplete. Scheffler the closest one to it, and good coverage by Jennings, and Titus Young drew a crowd. There was nowhere for Stafford to go with the ball.
Well, he bought himself some time. He was wanting Titus Young to do something. He almost came all the way backside at the very end of this play to Calvin Johnson. They kind of turned him loose right there, and Matthews sees him, and it was just a little nervous on how long that ball was going to be in the air. But what he wanted was Titus Young to just create some separation. At this point, you know, it's not in the playbook. It's just like you would do if you're out there in the street with your buddies. You know, you just do something and get open, and yet nobody was able to.
2nd down and 20. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Calvin Johnson.
I thought that was going to be Stafford's 3rd interception. How that ball got through Morgan Burnett's hands, I do not know. Morgan Burnett, you know, he's given the signals to the outside, but watch where this ball is thrown to Calvin Johnson. And Morgan Burnett is right there. And because it's a little behind Calvin Johnson, Morgan Burnett just doesn't make a play on it, but he read it perfectly.
And so the guy who had 16 touchdown receptions last year, Calvin Johnson, has his third of the season. He's at 113 yards on the day. Megatron, 25 yards from Matthew Stafford. And at the end of a frustrating day, at least at this point, a smile from number 9 as the Lions lead by 3. Matthew Stafford basically willed that ball into the arms of Calvin Johnson. 10-play drive. We've had 4 lead changes in this game, and somehow the Packers didn't at least knock that ball down.
Well, you saw that look going to break of Matthew Stafford, and he knew he got away with one.
Cobb will still take it out. That's a bad decision by Randall Cobb. The ball may have come out. But why Cobb didn't take a knee in the end zone after initially missing it, it's going to stay with Green Bay, and the ball is marked at the 11. Through the arms of Burnett. Into the arms of Calvin Johnson. Boom, boom. Megatron. Into the end zone. Lions lead by 3. Green Bay offense has not been on the field since 11:35 left in this third quarter. Now under 3 to play. They've run just 5 offensive plays this second half, and they delay it to Starks. Down by 3, and Starks, when he's had an opportunity, he has run hard. Silva on the tackle, and let's go back to the touchdown.
And the guy that was open was Tony Scheffler down the middle of the field. That's who they turned loose. You know, Matthew Stafford, he misread it, and yet he still is able to get the ball thrown to Calvin Johnson. Dom Capers, Morgan Burnett, Mike McCarthy, they're all wondering. Even Calvin Johnson has got to be wondering how he was able to come down with the ball for the touchdown on that throw.
Second down and 3. Back to Starks, right side. Levy makes the stop. Maybe a gain of 1, third down coming up. DeAndre Levy, who missed a couple of games with that hamstring, came back last week. It'll be third down and 1. Toss to Cobb, and they easily pick up the first down, and Cobb is dragged to the ground at the 35. Silva on the tackle. Jonte Green was there at the end to bring down Cobb after a run of 15 yards on third down and 1.
Well, they blocked down with Jordy Nelson. Looked like they were in man coverage, and so you're able to then get on the edge pretty quickly. Here's Jordy Nelson. As you see him, he's trying to crack block, but because they're in man, it opens up that edge, and then with the pulling offensive lineman, you've got Randall Cobb in behind it with no real defenders for them to block.
On first down, they fake it to Starks. Rodgers steps up and guns it to Jones. And James Jones has got a first down just outside the 45, 20 yards.
Well, that's that area of the field that I was talking about there in the first half, and Detroit has been very consistent with these guys here, and so you've got to get someone into the middle of the field, and they finally do it with James Jones on what they call a dig route. And I'm surprised it's taken them this long to really exploit that area, because as I showed earlier, Randall Cobb has had some opportunities if they can just get him in there.
And off to John Cohn, who gets wrestled to the ground by Fairley. And what a game Nick Fairley has had. The former first-round pick out of Auburn. And that'll do it for the first 3 quarters here in Detroit. Good game. 3 points separating the Lions and the Packers. Back after this from your local Fox station. Calvin Johnson's 25-yard touchdown has put the Lions out in front by 3, 2nd and 11. Number 98, Nick Fairley. 2 sacks in this game, a forced fumble, 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, including the last one at the end of the 3rd quarter. So big number 98 has come to play against the division rival Green Bay Packers, 2nd and 11.
What do you want? Hold! Where do you go?
Rodgers pulled it down awfully quickly, and he is forward for 2. 3rd and long coming up. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
All right, the Cowboys were down at home 13-0 to Cleveland at halftime, but they're kind of getting it going here in the second half. Felix Jones with a 2-yard score. Dallas with 10 unanswered to close the gap to within 3 early in the 4th quarter. Joe Florian.
All right, so a game the Cowboys need. This is a game the Lions need. 3rd down and 9. Pass is dropped off, caught by Cobb, but a nice strong tackle by Drayton Florence. It's going to be 4th down, and we'll see if the Packers punt it or if they go for it for the 2nd time in this game.
That's an excellent job by Drayton Florence against a really dynamic player in Randall Cobb, and they're matched up man underneath, and he makes a play. Not an easy task. You can see the urgency there on Mike McCarthy's face when they decide to try to give Mason Crosby another shot on a long field goal.
It is a 58-yard try, and a timeout taken by the Lions.
Timeout.
I think that caught everybody off guard. They bypassed a 49-yard try early, went for it on 4th down. Here you're thinking punt or go for it. Instead, it'll be a 58-yard try by a guy with a low level of confidence. We'll have the kick when we come back. Crosby had a 58-yarder last year indoors at Minnesota. What do you think about this decision by McCarthy?
I'm just surprised Mike McCarthy's not going for it. I think he's just kind of fed up. I think he just says, hey, this guy has got to make a kick.
Maybe kicking to stay on this team. And now they act like they're going to fake it.
False start. Offense number 83. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
And Mike McCarthy, I think, is surprised they threw a flag as Crabtree was going in motion. The Green Bay Packers had a fake field goal for a touchdown to number 83 against the Bears in week 2. And with that movement, clearly trying to draw the Lions offside instead of...
It might have been the movement there by the holder, Tim Mastay, as he went to tell the center, hey, go ahead and snap it, and that's when Crabtree went in motion, similar to what a quarterback would do. But I'm wondering if Mike McCarthy was actually ever going to have the ball snapped and attempt that.
I don't think he was ever going to attempt the field goal. He was trying to get an offside. It was 4th and 5. A fair catch called for just outside the 7. So Crosby has that distance, but looked like no idea of even trying to kick it for Green Bay. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute, you can learn more by visiting NFL.com/salute.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. The Lions have the most offside penalties defensively of anyone in football, and Mike McCarthy, I'm sure, is aware of that, and trying to use that to his advantage. A good job by the Lions hanging in there as well.
Here is LaShore trying to find room to run, and Michael gets 3. I'll say this, I believe there was a time that Mike McCarthy would have tried that field goal with Crosby. He's got the distance for that, but he does not have the confidence for that right now.
Yeah, I think if you take this game in totality and you say, okay, well, what decision are you going to make? If you go for it on 4th and 4 from the 31, it doesn't make a lot of sense to then opt to kick the field goal. That would have been a 58-yarder, but Yeah, I mean, that affects then the decisions that he's making, and it's hard to play championship football when you're trying to then protect the kicker.
Here's Stafford stepping up, nowhere to go. House is there. Pickett was there initially, and Stafford tried to get around him, a loss of 3. Pickett got him, and then House cleaned up, and there was some helmet-to-helmet there. Devon House was there to make the stop, and now Detroit is in that field position battle, hoping to get a first down, or they'll have to punt it back to Aaron Rodgers, and Green Bay should have decent field position without a conversion here.
Yeah, big third down no matter who you're looking at here. I mean, the Packers have a chance to make a stop, give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers with great field position. Of course, the Lions trying to recapture field position.
That was the 4th Green Bay sack of the day, and here's Stafford again. Going down, and on his back was Walden. That is sack number 5. So even without Clay Matthews, the Packers have dropped Matthew Stafford 5 times.
So you see the push inside, right into the lap then of Matthew Stafford, and he realizes that for the most part his defense has played well. He's got a 3-point lead, and things haven't gone really all that smoothly for him, and just not wanting to force something that he doesn't feel good about.
2nd sack of the day for Walden. He came in with only 1. Here's a short punt by Harris. He's had a rough year. And the fair catch by Cobb is at the Detroit 44. So Stafford has been sacked 5 times in this game. The Green Bay defense coming up with a nice stop. Packers with the ball down by 3. No Clay Matthews. No problem in the sack department. 5 on the day for the Green Bay defense. Walden, number 93, has 2 of them. This is the 3rd time the Packers start a drive inside Detroit territory. First time they turned it over on downs. Next time they missed a field goal. Rodgers with protection finds Nelson. He's been relatively quiet, and Jordy Nelson is out of bounds with a Green Bay first down.
This Lions defense has really done a nice job. I mean, that was the challenge coming in, as to whether or not they were going to be able to control Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson, and they've been able to do that. You talk about the field position that the Packers have been afforded, and yet the Lions have been able to hold up. Gunther Cunningham and his staff have done a nice job, and Mike McCarthy has called a very balanced game, through 3+ quarters.
I'd say balanced and conservative.
Where'd he go?
Only the 3rd catch for Jordy Nelson. Here's Starks. First guy there, Willie Young. No gain.
Well, the thing that the Packers have not been able to do, Joe, I mean, I know you say conservative. The Lions do a good job of not giving up big plays down the field, and they're giving the help to the outside. They're holding up against the run with 7 guys, which is hard to do, but they're doing it. Packers obviously are not a great running team, but what the Packers haven't been able to do is they haven't been able to exploit the middle of the field. And that really is where they have to go with the football if they're going to consistently move the ball against this defense.
We saw Sue on the sideline, 2nd down and 10. They fake it to Starks. Rodgers steps up, and they're going to throw a flag for a hold or interference on Drayton Florence. He was on the back and had a grab of Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson starts like he's going to run a crossing route, and it's when he tries to turn out of that route and get back to the sideline that they called Florence on. I didn't really necessarily see anything, but the official was behind that, and he obviously saw a tug of the jersey or something as Jordy Nelson was coming out of that route.
Holding defense number 31. A 5-yard penalty. And a first down.
You see the sleeve on the right arm of Drayton Florence. He broke his forearm week 2 in a loss against the 49ers. He is back active this week, a guy they signed after he was let go by Denver. And they were excited to get him back. He's been busy in this game. Guilty of a hold to bring up first down for Green Bay at the Detroit 28.
55! 55! 55!
Packers don't have a play of more than 20 yards in this game. Penalty flag on the play as Cobb is overthrown. And it's an offside against Detroit. Another one on the ledger for the Lions.
Offside. Defense number 92, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
So for the second time in this game, lining up in the neutral zone, a member of the defensive front for the Lions. It brings up 1st and 5.
Well, just like a sprinter, you know, I mean, they're trying to crowd that line as best they can to give them every advantage they can, but that's the second time that they've lined up in the neutral zone. They got Nick Fairley earlier in the game, and this time they get Cliff Avril.
Here's Starks. That's followed up. That play started with 2 tight ends, but they were more blocking tight ends, Crabtree and Ryan Taylor. No gain as Willie Young was in the middle of it, as well as Fairley to stop James Starks. And back to the more dynamic players with Cobb and Jordy Nelson checking back in on 2nd and 5. Starks gets it to the 20, 3rd and 2 coming up. There's Fairley again.
Yeah, Nick Fairley, as you said, Joe, I mean, he really has had a nice game. He's coming off a great game as well against Minnesota. He's a very impactful player. You know, he was limited last year, as I said a little bit earlier, because of the injury, but he has really come on. He's been a force, and he's one of the real reasons why they've been able to play the run pretty well, even without having to rely on an extra defender.
Hey, 55!
3rd down and 2. Rodgers, back shoulder throw. It's not there with James Jones, the intended receiver. And there's Drayton Florence again, and now Mason Crosby will come on to try and tie the game.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is really upset with this because Drayton Florence got away with one on that. He got called for the hold, which extended this drive, but he had a hold of James Jones's jersey, and the field judge just does not see it. Aaron Rodgers knew it happened, and he was right in the face of him trying to get the call, but to no avail.
There's not a Packer fan watching this game across the country that feels confident in a field goal that was routine and automatic for Mason Crosby. 38-yard try. And this one is no good. Hooked. Lions still lead by 3. Crosby's missed 2. Lions take over at their own 28. Up by 3, 8.5 to go. Handoff is to LaShore. You know, Troy, NFL kickers, and you know this better than I, are a species unto themselves. And when the confidence goes, they're not left with much. It's the 2nd official missed field goal in the game for Mason Crosby. He missed when Detroit called a timeout, so really 3 if you want to count it that way. And and McCarthy's right in his face.
Yeah, and that's not going to help Crosby. I mean, you got to work your way out of it, and it's hard to do then during the course of the game. Remember the first one that he missed, that was a timeout called, he missed right.
Here's LaShore doing all he can. 3rd and short coming up as Devon House makes the stop.
He misses the first field goal attempt right, and that's when Schwartz had called the timeout. He comes off of that one and hooks it left. This one he pulls left too. I think for our viewers at home, it'd be, you know, like when you're playing golf and you push one to the right, you overcompensate, and then all of a sudden you're hooking it left, and then having someone yelling at you, hey, just hit it down the middle. Well, I know, but it's hard to do. It's hard to do. And you know, you feel for the guy. I mean, right now he's trying to work through a real slump, and the thoughts that are running through his mind, I think you would equate it to someone who's really struggling on the golf course.
3rd down and 1. Out of the shotgun, pass caught by Broyles. The rookie Broyles is down inside the 40, knocked down at the 36 by Devon House.
Well, Broyles comes up on the route. He hooks up, and he draws the defender then into him. It's going to be on the left of your screen. And as soon as the defender, Morgan Burnett, comes up to cover him, then they call it a jerk route. He then comes to the middle, and he's able to make a catch, and then he's got a lot of room to run after the catch. And Broyles being one of those guys who I don't know really what they expected from him when they drafted him, coming off an ACL injury last year at the University of Oklahoma. You know, usually it's a year and a half later before you're really at full strength, but he's contributing now.
There's the short gain of 1. Pickett makes the stop. That was a rookie season-long 27-yarder to Broyles. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
Well, after trailing to Cleveland 13-0 at home, the Cowboys have scored 17 unanswered. Tony Romo hooking up with Dez Bryant, 28-yard score, 17-13, Dallas with the lead. And keep in mind, I know you guys will be there, Thanksgiving Day, the Cowboys and the Redskins right here on Fox. By the way, RG3, 4 TD passes in their big lead over the Philly Eagles right now.
All right, Kurt. It's a game Dallas obviously needs. Now it's up to Rob Ryan's defense, at least for the moment. Stafford finds a man wide open. That's Titus Young. And Young is going to be marked out of bounds just outside the 10. Richardson on the tackle.
Well, they release him up to Jaron McMillan, and they're not in man coverage, and so where the opening is within that is exactly where Titus Young was able to get. And Matthew Stafford able to hang into the pocket, and he lays it on him. A couple nice completions. Good route there by Broyles, and a really nice route there by Titus Young.
But this Lions offense so good in the red zone, they need a touchdown. It's LaShore. Not much room. A field goal makes it only a 6-point game with Aaron Rodgers standing over there. It's 2nd and goal, so the Lions have to have loftier ambitions than just 3 points. As you look at the NFC North, Chicago, they will play out in San Francisco on Monday night. Green Bay and Detroit here. Minnesota has a bye week. 2 misses today for number 2. 2nd and goal. LaShore again. And he is into the arms of Brad Jones. Now it's 3rd and goal. And a timeout is taken by Mike McCarthy. He's got 2 left. 4.5 to go.
Well, this is interesting right now for Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, and really more so for Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's had a nice drive here. They've completed some passes. It's a 3-point game right now, but he's got to be real careful. He's got to know that a field goal is still big, even though they want a touchdown.
Third down and goal from the 9. Stafford over the middle, pass incomplete. It's 4th down, no flag. Titus Young, the intended receiver, and the Green Bay defense will force a field goal try.
Well, Casey Hayward was one-on-one. You know, there's contact that's made. Titus Young wanting the call, but you know, Hayward had inside leverage. Young was going to come out of that route.
They just ran the replay on the board here at Ford Field, and the crowd reacted. They saw interference on Titus Young.
Yeah, it was man-to-man, and Matthew Stafford went right where he needed to go with the ball, and they just couldn't get the separation they were looking for.
27-yard try by Madsen, and he drills it. Let's look at that again on 3rd down and goal. This is a big no call.
Yeah, it's big. You see that he's inside leverage. Now it's that left arm there, and then as he's coming out of the route, that they very easily could have made the call on that. Stafford can't believe that it didn't get a flag.
Meanwhile, Mason Crosby is on the sideline, and Greg Jennings is trying to get a smile, looking for that Dougie smile out of Mason Crosby, but You said it during the break when we saw it. It doesn't look like Mason's in the mood for that after his rough day.
No, he played along with it pretty good. Jennings might ought to be careful. He might get hit upside the head himself by a kicker. But right now it's a 6-point game. You say, well, now it doesn't come down to Mason Crosby. It comes down to Aaron Rodgers being able. He's going to have to kick an extra point. I mean, nothing's easy when you're kind of the mind right now that Mason Crosby is.
Doesn't matter how big that fairway is, it can be hard to hit.
Yeah, I've played with you.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Under 4.5 to go, 2 timeouts left, so plenty of time for Green Bay, but we've got everything on the line. Mike McCarthy 11-1 against the Lions. We've got Jim Schwartz 1-5 against Green Bay. And the Packers have won 8 straight within the division. That's all hanging out there in a 6-point game. Here's Cobb. Takes it out of the end zone again and can't make the 20. That ball came out. Looked like his knee was down, and it may be recovered by the Packers anyway. 21-yard return, but the ball did come out on Cobb's way to the ground. Let's see if his knee was down anyway, regardless of who comes up with this. Yeah, that's going to stay with Green Bay no matter what. They got on top of it anyway. And so the drive will start inside the 20. This December, the UFC returns to Fox as lightweight champion Benson Henderson puts his title on the line against top contender Nate Diaz, highlighting a full night of 4 epic bouts. Coverage of UFC on Fox 5 begins Saturday, December 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox. It has been a brutal second half for the Packers. The only points in that defensive touchdown by Jennings. Delayed handoff to Starks. And a nice start to the drive as he gets 11. DeAndre Levy on the tackle. First down right out of the gate for the Packers, who have won 4 straight overall.
It was a good way to start this drive for Green Bay. Detroit, as I said, they're not disguising what they're doing, and they haven't throughout this game. The Packers come back, run the ball on first down, and get a big gain to Starks.
There he goes.
On first down, Nelson, he and Rodgers not on the same page. We've seen a lot of that on each side here in this game, and Aaron Rodgers with that reaction after Nelson broke in, he was throwing it out.
You can tell by the reaction from Aaron Rodgers that that was more on him than it was Jordy Nelson. But you're right, we've seen several times. Certainly, I've seen it from Matthew Stafford, but we've also seen Aaron Rodgers, and that's pretty consistent with what we've seen of him for most of the year, even considering how well he's played and what a great year he's had.
Second down and 10. Quick throw. That's Jones. And James Jones, rather Finley. He's going to still go. And Jermichael Finley's tripped up inside the 35. A big play from Aaron Rodgers and Jermichael Finley, who has the only offensive touchdown for the Packers in this game, is good for 40. Finally brought down by Silva.
They get the blocking on the outside. You see Jermichael Finley in the slot. He runs an out route, and immediately Jordy Nelson is engaged blocking.
Here's a pass caught by Finley again. That 40-yarder, his long for the season, and the longest of the day for the Green Bay Packers offensively.
Well, here's Jordy Nelson on the outside, and he's blocking immediately on the outside on Chris Houston, and it keeps Houston from being able to come off of that and really make much of a play on Finley.
Second down and 4 from the 25.
Where'd he go?
They hand to Starks running right. Time not an issue right now, and it's pretty much all or nothing on this drive for the Green Bay Packers as Starks gets 3.
Yeah, I think you look at it, and with over 2 minutes, and the Packers have 2 timeouts, that even here on third down, if they don't make it, I've got to believe, he's obviously not going to settle for a field goal. He's going to go for it with the timeouts. Potentially, you could make a decision, but it's going to be all on this drive or not at all.
They could let it wind down to the 2-minute warning, but
Where'd he go?
they don't. This is for all of it to Cobb. He makes an adjustment for the touchdown. "22 yards from Aaron Rodgers to Randall Cobb, and what a good job by the second-year receiver."
Well, it's a great job by him. He starts in the slot, and he's got a lot of field to work with. There's a lot of area there for Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball. But he turns and then makes a play on the ball. You see Jacob Lacey, he never gets turned around. You know, he wasn't in a bad position. He just never gets turned, and you see that a lot from these corners. They just don't have the ball skills, and they're reluctant because they're afraid they're going to lose contact with the receiver if they turn and make a play on the ball. They never get their head around, and he makes the tackle.
And now it's up to Mason Crosby, who knocks through the extra point, has not missed one this season. And with that, the Packers lead by 1. And now it'll be Matthew Stafford taking on the Green Bay defense as Cobb is good for the touchdown. For Randall Cobb, his 6th touchdown catch over his last 4 games. He's got 9 catches in this game. That ties his career high. We've had 5 lead changes, and it's the Packers by a point, but time left. All Detroit needs is a field goal to win it. Under 2 to go. Detroit with 2 timeouts. Stephon Logan looking for room. And his forward momentum is stopped near the 25. We talked early about the numbers in the first quarter for Matthew Stafford. Not good. In the fourth quarter, however, he leads the league in passing yardage. He's got 8 touchdowns. And he's got his best quarterback rating of all quarters at 103.8 during the fourth. And they're going to rely on number 9 to get him a much-needed win.
Well, he's been in this situation many, many times. You know, they've come from behind. They've trailed a lot in the second half and the fourth quarter. And he gets a chance to do it in what is obviously a very important ball game at this point in the season.
Empty backfield passes at the knees, maybe even lower, of Scheffler. 2nd and 10.
Probably a good thing that ball was low because there was pretty good coverage on the play. There wasn't a whole lot there.
Lions have lost 20 of the last 23 games they've played Green Bay, and they just simply can't lose this game. They had the lead. They've lost the lead. They're 0-3 in the division and under 500. And now it's 2nd and 15 as Gosder Cherilus started early.
Well, Gosder Cherilus started early. Tony Scheffler.
False start. Offense number 77.
Tony Scheffler was trying to get in position himself. Matthew Stafford's telling him to get back to the outside, and he's trying to redirect another receiver on the opposite side of the field, and Gosder Cherilus got a little excited.
2nd and 15. Stafford fires incomplete. That ball bounced after it hit the hands of Titus Young. Now it's 3rd down and 15.
Well, Matthew Stafford, he didn't really get set up real well on that throw, and if he was starting to go elsewhere with the ball, but when he threw, it looked a little awkward in the pocket. Him trying to throw the route to the in-breaking cut.
B.J. Raji's missed time with a bad ankle. He goes limping off to the sideline. It's 3rd down and 15. Stafford with time to the sideline, broken up by Casey Hayward. It's 4th down. Titus Young, the intended target. It's 4th and 15. Detroit does have 2 timeouts remaining, but they're going to have to go for it down by 1.
Well, it's 3rd and 15 there, and they're trying to pick it up, and they go with a 3-man rush. Green Bay does, and Casey Hayward able to get underneath that route. Those are 3 bad plays for Detroit.
And now 4th and 15, trying to stay alive in this game and maybe in the season. 3-man rush. Stafford steps up, nowhere to go. Out to his right, down the field. Scheffler is there, and it's broken up. Incomplete, and the Green Bay Packers are going to win their 5th straight. Jerron McMillan was downfield to break it up. And like a chain reaction, fans start to leave here at Ford Field, as that was not a good possession any way you look at it for the Lions.
It's about as bad as it gets. They didn't run one good play, and then of course they had the false start by Gosder Cherilus at right tackle. But Matthew Stafford, he's able to buy some time, and nobody's able to create any separation. There was nowhere underneath to go with the ball. You can see as Stafford slides then out to his right, and he's just hoping that somebody will get open beyond the sticks, and he thought he at least had a shot down the field to Tony Scheffler.
Then the question is, where's Calvin Johnson?
Well, if he pulls up rather than running all the way across the field, if he pulls up, there's a chance. That's what happens in a lot of these scramble drills, that guys keep themselves covered running with defenders, and you've got to be able to stop and free yourself up. He was unable to. Titus Young was unable to. Scheffler was the one guy going deep. Stafford takes a chance, and they fail to do it. But just a terrible series there offensively for the Lions.
Lions will take one of their 2 remaining timeouts. Remember, the other one they had to use when Green Bay lined up on 4th down for that field goal earlier in this half. We look ahead to Thanksgiving Day, and it's the NFL on Fox. RG3 and the Redskins take on Dallas, and Tony Romo. Bitter divisional rivals. Coverage begins Thanksgiving Day at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, and we hope you join us. The Redskins are having their way with the Philadelphia Eagles. That gets worse and worse, as you mentioned, for Andy Reid and the Eagles. And at last check, Tony Romo and the Cowboys were leading at home against Cleveland. Now I understand Cleveland is back on top in Arlington over the Cowboys, in a game that's as important to Dallas as this game was coming in to the Lions. 2nd down and 10. We'll have another play, another timeout. But basically Green Bay can whittle this game clock down after that last series by Detroit. One more timeout left. That's it. And now whistles before the snap. It's been an odd
Please
day.
reset the game clock to 1:13.
They're going to put 1:13 on the game clock, and it's been an odd day really on each side. I mean, you've seen a lot of misses by Detroit. Opportunities, throws behind open receivers. You've seen Green Bay that really wasn't that impressive today. The missed field goals, and yet despite the missed field goals, here are the Packers a minute 13 away from winning their 5th straight.
You win a divisional game on the road, indoors at a place like this, regardless of what it looked like, what they could have done better, it's a nice win. I mean, we've talked about what this team has overcome. For the Lions, 10-6 a year ago, a playoff team, high expectations, playing at home in what really is a must-win game against a team that's been decimated by injuries, and you can't win. That's a tough game. So this team, and I understand that the league is crazy and a lot of weird things happen, and we've seen teams like we did last year with the Giants 7-7, but this was a pretty telling game, in my opinion, as to where the Detroit Lions are right now.
Meanwhile, you're going to have one more play. If you want to wind the clock down 41, 42 seconds, you're going to be at 4th down again. It's a 1-point game. We could see Mason Crosby out on the field yet again to try and make it more than a 1-point game, and Crosby's over there getting loose. Now add to that Green Bay is going to be facing a Lions team without any timeouts and very little time on the clock, but you could be back in that position with Crosby trying to extend the lead. first down ends it. And now the clock will wind. And we'll be down around 20 seconds or so. And we'll see Mason Crosby again.
And, you know, hey, I've got to believe that, you know, there's a little bit of McCarthy saying, I don't know. But, I mean, you have to do this, right? I mean, you can't go for it. I guess you could, but I mean, you have to kick this field goal and trust that he will make it and make it a 4-point game.
It'll be a 39-yard try, and he will do it with just over 20 seconds. So either way, you're going to see Detroit, if he makes it, set up offensively with what, 15, 16, 17 seconds left at best. But maybe the drama is just specifically for number 2 here, trying to keep his job. It's been a rough day. Mason Crosby, after pushing one wide right, got another crack at a 50-yarder, hooked it, and then in the second half missed from 38. And he's about to try from 39. And this guy's been one of the best kickers in the league.
Yeah, he has been. He's been really good. He's just gotten in one of, and you know, that's what you go back to, is how good he has been prior.
Another try. And this one stays within the right upright. It looked like it might veer off.
Started to have a little tail on it.
And Crosby gets congratulations, as he has now made it a 4-point game, and we're under 20 seconds to go. So good for the first time today. And that one stays inside the right upright. 39-yarder to make it a 4-point game, and maybe some relief.
Some. I mean, that's a lot of relief right there.
He's missed 2 field goals officially, really 3 with the timeout. For those of you just joining us, Joe, Troy, and Pam with you from Detroit in a game that the Lions really needed. They lost last week in the division at Minnesota. They're 0-3 in the division. They had a lead. That lead is now obviously gone. M.D. Jennings with an interception returned 72 yards for a touchdown. Calvin Johnson good from 25 from Stafford to give the Lions the lead. And then this to Randall Cobb. The snap coming just outside the 2-minute warning. And then turning it over on downs, and led to a field goal by Crosby. And Scheffler is upended by Casey Hayward. 15 seconds left in the game. No timeouts for Detroit, down by 4. Let's go to Patrick O'Neill for a game break.
All right, Joe, thanks. Well, the Cowboys gave the ball back to the Browns after a punt. Personal foul gives Brandon Weeden the opportunity, and he strikes Benjamin Watson. 18-yard touchdown. Now the Cowboys have the ball. 57 seconds left, down 3 in their own end. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Patrick, thank you. So there'll be more drama in your hometown, Troy, if the Cowboys win that road game within the division at Philadelphia and go home and lose to Cleveland. They come in at a game under 500, hoping for something miraculous, and nearly another pick. 9 seconds left. In and out of the arms of Devon House. And it was Scheffler again, the intended receiver. Matthew Stafford is faced with a second down, but only 9 seconds remaining. The Green Bay Packers are 9 seconds away from their 5th consecutive win, their 7th overall, after a 1-2 start. Pass is broken up. No flag. Pettigrew the intended target. And now 3 seconds remain.
You know, I thought they might try to get something off quick to the sidelines and get out of bounds. They're trying to get it here. You know, coverage is pretty tight. Actually, you see the left arm there on Pettigrew. I thought a call could have been made, but I don't know. Matthew Stafford's got a strong arm. I don't know if he's got enough arm from where they are on the field to get this thing all the way into the end zone. That's why I thought they would try to, get a little bit more yardage quickly. But they're going to have to come up with something pretty fancy here if they're going to have any kind of opportunity.
Last snap barring a defensive penalty, and it's underneath Calvin Johnson. And he laterals right into the arms of Jerron McMillan, and this game is over. The Green Bay Packers win it 24-20. They've won 5 straight. They've won 21 of the last 24 against the Lions, and Mike McCarthy is now 12-1 in his career against Detroit. They've won 9 straight in the NFC North. We'll take a break. Come back to Detroit after this. Packers win by 4.